Welcome. I'm here with Jeff Haller, and he's going to be teaching with Roger Russell. And the title of their workshop is Why Dinosaurs Don't Have Heels and Judo Experts Move from Their Pelvis. But Jeff, tell us, why did dinosaurs not have heels?
Well, that's really the question for Roger, because
I
he's the
know.
one who's going to take you to the Natural History Museum and really show you the difference in the skeletal structures of dinosaurs and mammals and the development of the mammalian structures that have heels. But I can say very clearly that the heels for human beings are absolutely attached to the way that we organize our heels and the way that we organize our feet, so that the whole process by which we lift through our skeleton, utilize ground forces to lift through our skeleton, is completely contingent upon the way that we find and interact with our skeleton, with the surface, with the ground, and in standing, how we organize our feet and our heels in order to provide us lift through our skeleton. Are you sitting on your stool right now?
I'm sitting on my chair with my legs crossed. Now both my feet are to the floor.
Yes. So in other words, in this notion of sitting, I'm not sitting on a stool. I'm engaged with the stool. I'm
Oh,
interacting with the stool. I'm interacting with the ground. I'm interacting with the environment. If I'm living in the world of the Feldenkrais world, where we ask people to please lie on the floor, please sit on your stool, you're inviting people to be engaged in the world of gravity. Gravity meaning that the force is pulling the weight of your head onto your atlas, onto your spine, compressing your spine, bringing your weight onto your pelvis. And if we listen to most Feldenkrais practitioners, and we listen very carefully, most of them will say, we're going to teach a lesson so you can organize yourself over your hip joint, so that you're going to take the weight of your torso over your hip joint and then balance yourself on a single small point of sustentation. It's ridiculous. The entire nervous system can be coordinated in such a way that we can find the means to organize our skeleton to provide support up and through us, and so we don't have to balance over. The ground forces can be lifted up and through us. So I'm sitting, and what's lifting? My head is being lifted by the way that my spine lifts through my atlas. My head is resting and being lifted by the way that my head sits with my atlas. Now I'm on my stool. Now, how do I engage myself through my skeleton? What does a judo master do? How is it that a judo master, we talk about hara, but if we look really, really carefully at the femoral heads, we can see that the femoral heads absolutely align with the lines of the sacrum, where the sacrum joins the ilial plates side by side. And if we look really carefully at the way that you can transmit force through the lines of force through the femoral head, the way we can spiral into the femoral head through and provide equal support through the sacrum, we can see that creates a basis for the support of the third lumbar vertebra, precisely, which is the source of where everybody says hara is. Hara is a matter of how it is we interact with the ground. And if we watch a really first-class judo man lift through themselves. If you're gonna make a koshinage throw, you cannot fall into yourself. You have to eccentrically lower yourself in such a way that you have the availability to lift back through yourself without falling. Because the moment you fall, you're going to be taken. And so that coordinative process through which lift and the way that we learn to organize our legs and our pelvis and the way that we organize through our spine to the process of lifting ourselves, which means to engage. Roger can go into more detail, but the reflexes in our brainstem, the process by which we inhibit flexion and organize our extensors to lift our eyes, to lift our diaphragm, to lift our chest, to lift us up and through, and to maintain that sense of lightness and freedom and elegance, which is Moshe's conversation about the tonic posture. But we really don't know what it means. And if we wanted to study it, it requires an additional way of looking at how we organize ourselves in awareness through movement lessons. You can't just roll over the floor and think that you're interacting with the floor. You can't think that that's reversibility. The process by which you roll and then you roll back through the space, you roll back in the path that you came from. You can't consider that to be reversibility. That's not Moshe's definition of reversibility. Moshe said reversibility is the ability to organize ground force through your skeleton nanosecond by nanosecond to cancel the force of gravity. That means at any point in time that you stop, there's no work. And at that point in time that you stop, in that moment of quiet, you have complete capability of moving from one point to the next without hesitation. And that means we're prepared for activity. And so our lessons, in order to really, truly become dynamic, we start to understand how these lessons unfold from the inside out. It's not that I roll over the floor. How is it that from the inside myself, I engage my ribs if I want to roll? How is it that if I want to lift myself, how is it that I engage myself with the floor? I don't just lift myself. How do I engage myself? And what are the minute ways that I coordinate that? And how is it that my brain does something really interesting. The very first thing in every single action, every intention, is to organize the slow twitch muscle fibers to organize the skeleton, in order to prepare the skeleton for the action. Now, we don't study at that level. We just do the lessons. And there's another complete level of study is how we watch the organization of lessons and we learn to utilize ground forces in our skeleton and to appreciate what it takes for a judo master to actually find their pelvis and their hara, and they have the ability to be in that state moment by moment so that they have the ability to sense when another person's balance is compromised. That's what we do.
Well, that was simple.
It's really simple, but it's a much longer study than we might have. Is to how do we actually illuminate our skeleton within? Because even in our Feldenkrais community, we will find that most people are vague in the sense of the sense of their skeleton within, the actual experience of every element of their skeleton, and can they operate in such a way that they operate as if they're within the skeleton itself as they make a lesson, or are they involved in the lesson outside of themselves? Where is their attention and how do they organize their attention? Yeah.
This is great. Wow. Thank you, Jeff. This is more than I could have imagined to ask from you to explain. It's going to be eye-opening for people attending this workshop, because this has been morphing and moving like this for years between you and Roger. So I want to thank you both for what you've put together to bring to our community, to teach us and to listen to and to experience.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what kind of interest we have. It's a question whether it's a question for people or not.
Oh, I think it is. Thank you.
All right.